Just a few weeks ago, Luxembourg was once again crowned as the #1 richest country in the entire world.
And honestly, that's pretty much all I needed to know to book my trip there. I mean, come on, a country where 1 in 6 people walking around the streets is a millionaire? Who wouldn't want to see what that's like? But as I quickly discovered, Luxembourg is unlike any place I'd ever been to before for several reasons well beyond just its economic strengths. For reasons that just aren't really talked about. So, in today's video, I'm sharing 10 surprising facts that you probably didn't know about the world's richest country. First and foremost, a fact that just blew my mind is that all public transportation in Luxembourg is completely free. This means you can get on the train, the bus, or the tram and go anywhere in the entire country without paying a dime. Public transportation became free in 2020, and in my experience, it runs great. I took the bus several places, including to and from the airport, and the tram ran right outside of my Airbnb, so it's also a mode of transportation that I used frequently. Both the buses and the tram, in my experience, were very clean and easy to navigate. I just used Google Maps and it did a great job of telling me which stops to get on and off at, so you shouldn't have any problems getting around. It did, however, take me a minute to adjust to simply walking onto the bus without tapping my credit card or swiping my ticket, but it truly was a marvelous experience, and I'm gonna need New York to catch up. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, or if you've learned something new, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Just like the public transportation in Luxembourg, subscribing to my channel is completely free. Another thing that was immediately apparent to me upon arriving in Luxembourg City is the city's unique topography. The city is split into 2 distinct parts, the lower town, which sits in the valley, and the upper town, which sits on the cliffs that surround the valley. The lower town, or the Grund, is a preserved historic site boasting architecture from the 14th century. While it's a quieter part of town with fewer residents, the lower town is a great spot to go for some restaurants, bars, museums, or even just peaceful walks. You can get down there by taking the bus, the glass elevator, or simply by finding a walking path that takes you down. The upper town is much more modern, and it's where I spent most of my time. It's home to lots of green space, public squares, modern business buildings, a lively shopping area, and more. From the upper town, you can also take in those beautiful views of the valley. Because the upper town was built on the cliffs around the perimeter of the valley, they had to build several bridges to connect the various parts of the upper town to each other. In fact, there are over 100 bridges serving as the connective tissue for this small town, and some people really take pride in them. You can find a bridge pretty much anywhere you look in the city, and some of them are much more famous than others. Believe it or not, there's actually several articles online telling you which bridges you must cross if you're a tourist visiting Luxembourg. So I guess if bridges are your thing, then Luxembourg is the place for you. Don't get me wrong, the bridges are cool, but in my opinion, the underground tunnels are really where it's at. These tunnels that run underneath the upper town are actually part of the casemates, or fortresses, that were used for military purposes beginning in the 1600s. Over the centuries, these fortresses were adapted and expanded to meet the changing needs of the military at the time. Listen closely. If you do nothing else in Luxembourg, it is my personal recommendation that you visit the Bach Casemates. These are the most famous casemates, and they're actually recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They are a must-see tourist attraction that you can take a tour of with a guide for just €8. The inside of the casemates are absolutely stunning, and the view of the valley from the cannon slots isn't so bad either. Being inside the casemates just felt so soothing to me, which makes sense. I mean, they were used as a military fortress and even a bomb shelter during the World Wars, but you just feel so isolated and away from the rest of the city. You can't even hear the people and the traffic above you. It just feels so insulated and calming. And the Casemates tours are also available in several languages, which brings us to our next surprising fact about Luxembourg, which is that it is such a multicultural country. Luxembourg has 3 official languages, Luxembourgish, French, and Germany, which kind of makes sense seeing as it's located between France and Germany. However, most people also speak English, and a good percentage also speak Portuguese. This means that the average Luxembourg citizen speaks 4 to 5 languages. This multilingualism is a result of many factors, including the fact that France and Germany both occupied Luxembourg at different points in history. And Portuguese is a prominent language here because around 15% of the population is of Portuguese descent. And that's because in the 1960s, a lot of Portuguese people immigrated to Luxembourg to escape some economic hardships of Portugal. Now, I will be the first to tell you that I am not a historian, so if you want to learn more about all of these factors, please do your own research. But my bigger point is that if you speak any of these 5 languages, you should have no problems finding people to communicate with. And another aspect that contributes to Luxembourg's multiculturalism is the fact that around 220,000 people commute to Luxembourg from other countries every day to go to work. This means that almost 50% of Luxembourg's entire workforce are cross-border commuters coming from other countries. That is a very unique statistic. When you hear people refer to Luxembourg as the wealthiest country in the world, you might also just assume that everything there must cost an arm and a leg. At least that's what I assumed before I visited. But luckily, that is not true. While the cost of Airbnbs and hotels was definitely higher than what I had seen in other European countries when I visited, the cost of everyday goods and food and beverages was really comparable, if not affordable, compared to what I paid in other European countries and definitely compared to what I pay here in New York. From the food and drink that I enjoyed to the toiletries and personal items that I stocked up on, really nothing seemed particularly expensive. And as we've already covered, public transportation is entirely free. So overall, as a tourist, I did not feel like I was trying to scrimp and save to make it through my visit. Of course, the cost of living in Luxembourg is going to vary greatly from the cost of just being a tourist, but luckily for Luxembourg residents, the country holds another world record for being the country with the highest minimum wage. Their minimum wage is around $14, which is about twice as much as the minimum wage in the United States. So overall, it seems like Luxembourg affords its residents a fairly high standard of living. Okay, this second to last surprising fact is for all of you wine connoisseurs out there. Right in the heart of Luxembourg City is a restaurant whose wine menu was once the longest in the world. This menu spans 80 pages and has over 1,700 listings of wine, and it earned a Guinness World Record in 2008. Sadly, I did not have the chance to check out this restaurant, but the next time that I'm in Luxembourg, I'm definitely heading over there to enjoy a nice glass of vino. And finally, fact number 10, when you visit Luxembourg, you can officially say that you've been to the only remaining Grand Duchy in the entire world. Being a Grand Duchy means that Luxembourg is still ruled by a Grand Duke. Duke Henry, the current Grand Duke, has been in the position since the year 2000. So write that down for your next trivia night and thank me later. And there you have it. It turns out that the country known for being the richest in the world actually has a lot of other amazing things to be known for. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned something new, please give a big thumbs up. And if you made it this far, leave a comment below letting me know which fact you found the most interesting. Subscribe to my channel for more exploration inspiration, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!